The story begins with a figure hunched over a glowing laptop screen in a dimly lit room, late at night. The world outside is silent, but inside, a restless mind is wide awake, searching for answers in endless videos. He watched YouTube to learn everything, the narrator says, not because he had a formal education, but because curiosity refused to be silenced. Every click was a step away from the invisible chains of limitation. This was a man who was nobody's prodigy but his own relentless student. The videos ranged from coding tutorials to business strategies, from entrepreneurial rants to bite-sized history lessons. He absorbed knowledge like a sponge, crafting an education the system never offered. The glow of the screen reflected on his tired eyes, which burned not with exhaustion, but with determination. Around him, scattered notes and scribbled diagrams revealed the chaos of an untrained mind, wrestling with big ideas. He wasn't born to be rich or famous. He was born to be forgotten, until he wasn't. No one believed someone like him could build anything lasting, let alone invent the world's first EdTech unicorn. But he knew better. Failure wasn't a dead end. It was a rough sketch of the blueprint he was drawing. His small apartment felt like a laboratory for dreams, where every failure was logged, and every breakthrough celebrated quietly. People laughed when he said, "I'll build a company that changes how we learn forever." But laughter was just noise. His hands typed, paused, and typed again, fueled by an unyielding hope to give the world something it didn't know it needed. In this moment, he wasn't just watching YouTube. He was watching his future unfold, one frame at a time. He was an invisible man in a world obsessed with names and faces. No pedigree, no connections, only a restless hunger to rewrite his own story. When the world laughed at his dreams, he listened harder. The nights were long, filled with whispered promises to himself that one day someone would see the value he created from the chaos of his relentless learning. His hands trembled as he pieced together ideas from fragments gathered online. Each video watched was a puzzle piece fitting into a larger unseen picture. The frustration of being underestimated was matched only by the fire to prove that education was not a privilege reserved for the elite. This was his fight, silent but fierce, a rebellion fueled by knowledge found in pixels and code. No degree could measure his determination, no classroom could contain his ambition. He built himself in the shadows, learning from strangers across the globe, each video a mentor, each tutorial a stepping stone to his vision. He wasn't just consuming content, he was transforming it into something extraordinary. His obsession with learning became a sanctuary and a battleground. As doubts crept in from friends and strangers alike, he found solace in the endless stream of knowledge on his screen. What if I'm just fooling myself? He wondered quietly. But the screen never judged. It only delivered answers, sometimes cryptic, often inspiring. He devoured lessons on programming languages, user experience design, and business models. His apartment echoed with the sounds of lectures and tutorials, each one a lifeline in a sea of uncertainty. Failure was frequent, but his resolve was stubborn. He pieced together the fragments of his dream like a mosaic, ignoring the world's sneers. The more they doubted, the louder his conviction became. "I'm building something no one else sees yet," he said, clutching his token tightly as if it grounded him in a storm of self-doubt. This was the beginning of an empire born from pixels, patience, and relentless faith. Yet knowledge alone could not shield him from betrayal. As he shared his ideas with those he trusted, shadows began to creep in. A confidant, once a beacon of support, revealed a sharper edge hidden behind friendly smile. Words of encouragement twisted into manipulation, promises turned hollow. "You need me," they said, to reach the next level. But every step forward felt like walking deeper into a trap. What? His wound, a fracture of trust, widened silently. The battle was no longer just external but internal. Was he naive to believe in loyalty? The sting of betrayal was sharpest because it came from within his circle, breaking him where he was most vulnerable. But even wounded, he refused to surrender. His eyes, once full of naive hope, now burned with a hardened fire. "They will not write my ending," he vowed, voice low and resolute. The fight had only just begun. The revelation hit like a thunderclap. The path to success was riddled with deceit and broken promises. Yet, in that crucible of pain, clarity emerged. He realized that the future he sought had to be built alone, piece by piece, with unwavering faith in his own vision. He withdrew, not out of defeat but strategy. The silence around him became a shield as he worked feverishly to turn his scattered knowledge into a living, breathing innovation. He envisioned an educational platform that was accessible, intuitive, and revolutionary, a place where learning was free from barriers of wealth and pedigree. His journey from watching YouTube videos in the dark to crafting code that would change millions of lives was just beginning. This was more than a business. It was a mission born from scars, hope, and relentless will. "I will show them all," he whispered, "that knowledge is power, if only you dare to claim it." With renewed focus, he plunged into the next chapter of his journey, building the platform from scratch. Nights blended into mornings as he wrote, line after line of code, each function a brick in his digital foundation. The world outside remained unaware, but inside this small apartment, innovation was taking root. His screen flickered with prototypes and wireframes, a visual language born from countless lessons absorbed online. The constant hum of his laptop became a soundtrack for perseverance. Every error message was met not with frustration, but with curious analysis. He adapted, iterated, and rebuilt, slowly shaping an idea into reality. "This isn't just code," he thought, "it's a gateway." He envisioned students from every corner of the globe, connecting through a platform designed to break down barriers. His hands ached but never stopped moving, fueled by an unyielding belief that education should be limitless. In this solitary mission, hope was the quiet force that kept him awake. Progress was slow but steady. As prototypes began to take shape, he reached out to online communities, sharing snippets of his work and gathering feedback. The responses ranged from skepticism to cautious encouragement. But he learned to sift through noise, valuing only voices that challenged him to improve. Slowly, a small network of believers emerged, strangers connected by shared dreams of accessible education. His platform's features expanded, incorporating interactive lessons, real-time quizzes, and personalized learning paths. Each new element was tested in the wild digital landscape, refined by user experience. With every update, the vision crystallized into something tangible. He felt a growing confidence, knowing this was no longer just a personal project. It was becoming a movement. The hum of his laptop was joined now by notifications and messages, echoes of a community awakening to his mission. As the platform grew, so did the stakes. Investors began to notice the buzz, but their interest was laced with doubt. Meetings in sleek conference rooms introduced a new challenge, selling a vision born in solitude to a world that measured worth in credentials and capital. He faced questions designed to expose gaps. What's your market strategy? How will you scale? Who are your competitors? Each answer required careful thought, balancing honesty with ambition. The weight of expectation pressed on him, but his core mission remained unchanged. Education is the greatest equalizer, he insisted quietly, and this platform will be proof. His clothes grew crumpled, his voice sometimes shaky, but he carried the fire inside, ready to fight for a future only he could see. His journey from a self-taught learner to a founder was a fragile bridge over uncertainty, strengthened by relentless resolve. Failures came swiftly, like cold gusts against a fragile flame. A major feature crashed during beta testing. Users encountered bugs that threatened to erode their trust. The pressure mounted as deadlines loomed, and funds tightened. He wrestled with doubt, the loneliness of leadership weighing heavily. But surrender was never an option. Instead, he called on the strength forged in nights of self-learning and silent perseverance. He convened virtual meetings with his small team, each face a reminder that this dream was shared. They worked tirelessly, debugging, redesigning, and testing with precision. With every setback, they adapted faster. He learned to listen, to users, to his team, and to the subtle signals of progress hidden beneath chaos. Each success was a whisper of triumph in a storm of struggle, a testament to the power of grit over glory. Then the breakthrough came, not with fanfare, but in a quiet moment of clarity. An innovative algorithm optimized the learning paths, personalizing content like never before. User engagement soared, and the community grew organically. His platform became more than code. It was a living ecosystem, connecting teachers, students, and creators worldwide. Investors took note again, this time with offers reflecting newfound belief. But the man remained grounded. "This is just the beginning," he said softly, "not the end." He knew the road ahead was still steep, filled with unknown challenges. But for the first time, he saw the horizon clearly, a world transformed by education without limits. His solitary nights watching YouTube had evolved into a revolution. From pixels to power, he had built a beacon for the future. With the foundation laid, expansion became the new battlefield. New hires joined the mission. Developers, designers, educators, all united by the vision to disrupt traditional learning. The office buzzed with energy, ideas exchanged like currency in a marketplace of innovation. Yet growth brought complexity. Scaling technology, navigating regulations, and balancing the needs of a global user base demanded more than skill. It required leadership tempered by humility. This isn't just a startup, he reminded himself. It's a movement. Each challenge was met with a determination refined through years of solitary struggle. He faced skepticism with grace, turned setbacks into lessons, and nurtured a culture where failures were stepping stones. The platform's reach expanded exponentially, touching corners of the world once thought unreachable by education. But success brought new enemies, corporate giants threatened by disruption, legal battles loomed, and media scrutiny intensified. The quiet student from the night before was now a public figure, his every move dissected. The pressure was relentless, yet he remained steadfast. Innovation always invites resistance, he mused, eyes steely. He learned to wield public attention as a tool, telling stories that inspired millions while protecting his vision from those who sought to dilute it. The platform became a symbol, not just of education, but of resilience. Behind the scenes, long hours and tough decisions defined his leadership. His personal sacrifices were many, but the mission was clear. Empower the learner in every corner of the world. Amid the chaos, moments of triumph illuminated the journey. A heartfelt testimonial from a user who overcame barriers through the platform, a prestigious award recognizing innovation in education, and the first 1 million active users milestone. These were not just numbers or accolades, they were proof of impact. He remembered the countless nights fueled by coffee and hope, the solitary screens that now connected millions. The journey from watching videos alone to leading a global movement was surreal but deeply satisfying. Yet, he never forgot the spark that ignited the fire, curiosity and relentless self-learning. His mission was no longer just personal, it was universal. Even as success soared, he remained vigilant. The world of technology and education was ever-changing, and complacency was a luxury he could not afford. New competitors emerged, and shifting user needs demanded constant evolution. He encouraged a culture of continuous learning within his company, reflecting his own journey from self-taught outsider to visionary leader. Every setback was met with curiosity, every challenge with innovation. He mentored his team with empathy, reminding them that the true power of their work was in changing lives. The EdTech unicorn was no longer just a business, it was a beacon of hope, a testament to what passion and perseverance could achieve. The journey was far from over, but the foundation was solid. The man who once watched YouTube videos alone had transformed the way the world learns. His company stood as a symbol of empowerment, inclusion, and innovation. As he looked out over a bustling city skyline from his office window, he reflected on the humble beginnings. The hours spent in solitude, the setbacks endured, and the victories earned. He knew that the future held new challenges, but with knowledge as his compass and a community at his back, he was ready. "This is just the beginning," he whispered, eyes shining with determination. "The world will learn, and together, we will rise." The platform had reached a critical crossroads. Global expansion demanded deeper cultural understanding, a challenge that extended beyond technology. He convened a team of educators from diverse backgrounds to redesign content that resonated worldwide. The office buzzed with animated debates about language nuances, regional learning styles, and inclusive pedagogy. He listened intently, absorbing perspectives far richer than his own. The realization dawned: building a universal platform meant honoring countless individual stories. This was no longer a solitary vision, but a collective mission. Every decision carried the weight of millions of learners who relied on this digital bridge to opportunity. His role evolved, from coder to cultural ambassador, tasked with weaving unity into diversity. Challenges multiplied, but so did the hope that education could transcend borders in a way never done before. Amidst growth, the personal cost became unavoidable. Long hours and relentless pressure carved cracks in his relationships. Late-night calls with family were met with silence or frustration. Friends drifted as he vanished into meetings and code reviews. Loneliness crept into moments meant for celebration. Yet, he refused to compromise his vision. Sacrifices are part of the journey, he reminded himself. Still, he longed for balance, a chance to reclaim moments stolen by ambition. In quiet reflection, he realized that true success required not only a thriving platform, but also healing connections. This revelation marked a turning point. He vowed to nurture both the mission and the life beyond the screen, understanding that neither could flourish without the other. The road ahead demanded resilience, tempered by compassion. External threats intensified as competitors launched aggressive campaigns to overshadow his platform. Legal disputes emerged over intellectual property, draining time and resources. Yet, he stood firm, drawing strength from his core belief that education was a right, not a privilege. His team rallied, focusing on innovation and user experience rather than retaliation. Strategic partnerships formed with nonprofits and global educators, reinforcing their ethical foundation. Media narratives began shifting from skepticism to admiration. The battle was no longer just about market share. It was a fight for the soul of education itself. Through adversity, the platform's identity strengthened, becoming a beacon of integrity and purpose in a turbulent tech landscape. He found solace knowing that every challenge refined their mission, not fractured it. Innovation surged forward as the team developed AI-driven tutors that adapted to individual learning speeds and styles. Early trials showed dramatic improvements in student engagement and retention. The young founder watched presentations with pride, remembering nights spent debugging alone. The technology now felt alive, responsive, a true companion for learners worldwide. Yet he remained humble, knowing that technology was merely a tool. The real magic lay in the human connection it fostered. This breakthrough brought renewed energy to the company, fueling plans for even broader access, including underserved regions with limited internet. His vision expanded beyond screens, to a future where learning was truly borderless, equitable, and empowered by empathy. Every code iteration, every meeting, was a step closer to that ideal. The platform celebrated a monumental milestone: 10 million active users worldwide. Virtual events brought together learners and educators from dozens of countries, sharing stories of transformation. The young man reflected on how a single spark of curiosity had ignited a global blaze. Yet, he remained grounded. For every milestone reached, new challenges loomed. He understood that the journey was endless, a continuous cycle of growth and renewal. The mission had grown larger than any individual, but his heart remained deeply connected to its origins. As applause echoed from screens worldwide, he whispered a quiet vow to keep pushing boundaries, to ensure education remains a beacon of hope for generations yet to come. Years into the journey, he stood at a new threshold, redefining lifelong learning. The platform evolved into a holistic ecosystem offering career guidance, mental health resources, and community support. He spoke passionately at global summits, advocating for education as a catalyst for social change. His vision had matured, no longer confined to digital classrooms, but woven into the fabric of everyday life. Yet with growth came complexity. Balancing innovation with responsibility became his daily challenge. Each decision was weighed against ethical considerations and long-term impact. The young man was now a seasoned leader, blending empathy with strategic foresight. His journey had come full circle, from learner to visionary to guardian of a global educational revolution. Innovation continued to pulse through the platform as new technologies integrated seamlessly. Virtual reality classrooms, AI mentors, and a global peer network. The young founder remained hands-on, leading workshops and mentoring the next generation of innovators. Despite immense success, he stayed true to his roots, often recalling the nights spent learning alone. The platform was no longer just software, it was a living community, evolving with every user. He believed the future belonged to those who dared to dream and learn endlessly. His story became a beacon for aspiring creators worldwide, embodying the power of perseverance, humility, and vision. Yet, the weight of leadership was not without cost. Moments of doubt surfaced amid mounting expectations. Public scrutiny intensified, demanding transparency and accountability. He embraced vulnerability, sharing struggles openly with his community. This honesty deepened trust and reinforced the platform's human-centered ethos. Support networks within the company strengthened, emphasizing wellness and balance. He championed mental health initiatives for learners and staff alike, believing that a healthy mind was the foundation of true learning. His evolution was not just technical but deeply personal, a testament to the intertwining of innovation and humanity. Global crises tested the resilience of the platform and its community. Natural disasters and political upheavals disrupted access, but swift responses from his team ensured uninterrupted learning. Emergency partnerships with humanitarian organizations extended the platform's reach to displaced learners. These efforts reaffirmed the foundational belief that education is a lifeline in chaos. He felt the weight of responsibility keenly, knowing lives depended on their work. Yet, amidst turmoil, stories of hope surfaced, students using the platform to rebuild, innovate, and inspire. The journey was far from over, but the vision remained a steadfast beacon, guiding millions through uncertainty toward a brighter future. As the sun rose on a new era, he stood once again at his window, reflecting on a journey defined by persistence, learning, and hope. The platform was no longer just his creation, it belonged to millions, a shared legacy of transformation. He envisioned future generations building upon this foundation, pushing boundaries further still. His heart swelled with gratitude for the challenges and triumphs that shaped him. Though the road ahead was unknown, he faced it with unwavering faith in the power of education to change lives. "This is not the end," he whispered, "but the beginning of what we can achieve together." The journey, like learning itself, was eternal. The dawn of a new challenge arrived quietly, but its impact was seismic. The platform's rapid growth unveiled gaps in accessibility for learners with disabilities. He realized that innovation must be inclusive by design, not an afterthought. Rallying his team, he initiated an ambitious overhaul focused on adaptive technology. Screen readers, customizable interfaces, and haptic feedback systems were integrated. He immersed himself in communities to understand real needs, listening to stories that reshaped his perspective. The work was painstaking and sometimes frustrating, yet every small victory was a beacon of hope. This chapter wasn't just about expanding reach, it was about ensuring no learner was left behind. The mission had deepened, embracing empathy as its core. The platform faced a sudden ethical dilemma when user data privacy concerns surfaced publicly. He convened a transparent forum with his team and users, openly addressing fears and misunderstandings. Policies were rewritten with strict privacy safeguards, putting control firmly in the hands of learners. It was a defining moment, demonstrating commitment beyond profit. His voice was steady but humble, acknowledging mistakes and promising vigilance. Trust he knew was fragile and earned through consistent integrity. The crisis became a catalyst, sparking innovations in encryption and anonymous data analysis. The platform emerged stronger, a testament to resilience in a digital age where vulnerability and responsibility intertwined. Inspired by the platform's impact, he launched a global fellowship to empower educators in marginalized regions. The initiative provided resources, training, and community support to hundreds of teachers. He often joined virtual sessions, witnessing firsthand the ripple effects of empowerment. Stories poured in, students graduating against all odds, communities transformed by knowledge. These victories fueled his conviction that education could be a force for equity and justice. The fellowship became a beacon of hope in conflict zones and remote villages alike. His vision had blossomed into a living network, connecting hearts and minds across continents, reinforcing that education was more than information. It was a lifeline and a spark for change. Amid success, he confronted burnout, his energy sapped by relentless demands. A sabbatical was planned, but doubts lingered. Could the mission survive without his constant presence? The team reassured him that the foundation was strong, built to endure beyond any one individual. This realization was liberating. He spent time reconnecting with nature and old passions, rediscovering joy in simplicity. Reflection brought clarity. Leadership was about empowerment, not control. Returning refreshed, he embraced a new role as mentor and strategist, trusting others to carry the torch. The platform's evolution mirrored his own, a balance of strength and vulnerability, innovation and rest, vision and humility. Back at the helm, he championed a radical transparency model, inviting users into the platform's decision-making process. Open forums, beta testing, and collaborative design workshops fostered an unprecedented sense of ownership. This participatory approach enriched the platform beyond expectation, embedding community wisdom into every feature. The young founder witnessed a transformation. The platform was no longer a product, but a living ecosystem co-created with its users. This shift embodied his deepest beliefs about democracy, trust, and shared purpose. He saw education not just as empowerment but as collective stewardship, a journey where every learner was also a teacher, innovator, and guardian of knowledge. The horizon stretched wide as the platform ventured into personalized, lifelong learning. AI companions evolved to anticipate learner needs intuitively, suggesting paths that blended career, wellness, and creativity. The young man reflected on how far the journey had come, from a solitary coder to the leader of a global movement. His speeches inspired hope, urging humanity to embrace learning as a continuous, joyful process. Challenges remained, but the foundation was solid. The platform was no longer merely digital infrastructure, it was a beacon lighting the way to a future where knowledge was boundless, accessible, and transformative. He smiled, knowing that the story was ongoing, each learner writing their own chapter in the grand narrative of human potential. Global networks expanded, linking learners, educators, and innovators in dynamic, multilingual communities. He championed open-source collaborations, breaking down silos and sparking cross-cultural creativity. His days were filled with virtual exchanges across continents, each conversation fueling new ideas. The platform became a vibrant tapestry, weaving together disparate voices into a unified chorus. Despite the complexity, his mission remained simple: to nurture curiosity, empower creativity, and foster belonging. The platform was a living organism, adaptive, resilient, and ever-evolving. It symbolized the power of collective intelligence harnessed for the common good. He faced renewed scrutiny amid rapid advancements. Critics questioned AI's role in education, fearing dehumanization. He engaged openly, hosting debates and publishing transparent research on ethical AI use. His commitment to human-centered technology resonated deeply with many. The platform integrated ethics boards and user councils, ensuring accountability at every level. These dialogues strengthened community bonds, fostering a culture of trust and responsibility. The young man recognized that technology was only as good as the values guiding it. His leadership now balanced innovation with conscience, steering a course where progress and ethics marched hand in hand. Amid ongoing evolution, he mentored young visionaries worldwide, planting seeds for the next wave of transformation. His stories inspired bold ideas and courageous action. He believed the future belonged to those who embraced uncertainty and learned relentlessly. Every mentorship session was a reminder of the power of shared wisdom and community. The platform's legacy was no longer his alone. It was a tapestry woven by countless hands, each thread vital and vibrant. He watched with pride as the movement blossomed beyond his imagination, confident that the spirit of learning would continue to illuminate humanity's path forward. As twilight deepened, he paused once more by the window, reflecting on a decade defined by curiosity, courage, and compassion. The platform was a living legacy, an ever-expanding constellation of dreams realized and possibilities yet to come. His heart was full, not with accomplishment, but with gratitude for the journey and those who walked it with him. The future was unwritten, an open book inviting every learner to inscribe their story. He whispered a promise to keep listening, learning, and leading with humility. The journey was eternal, the mission infinite. Education was, and would always be, the light guiding humanity forward.